morning. You'll be gone without warning. All the best players have gone out on loan. He's getting sacked in the morning.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sacked in the Morning, the football podcast that's a little bit more up to speed this time around. It is our prediction show, so we tend to do it just after the close of the transfer window, and the transfer window closed just over a week ago, so it's kind of close. So, the problem is that the guests I have that I do this show with all have jobs and families and other interests. God, they are not dedicated to the cause. So, that being said, how about we introduce some of these part-timers? I am joined this time by, in order on my screen, gentlemen, there is no particular order. Thelan, how are you doing, Thelan?
Yeah, I'm alright. My camera doesn't appear to work, but I'm alright with this.
It'll probably just click on at some point during the show or something random like that. I'm not entirely sure. But it's okay. The people will have to make do without your gorgeous looks. Instead, we will make do with the handsome ginger locks of Lee. How are you doing today, Lee?
I'm very well, thank you. Not doing bad at all. After coming home from my job.
Your job, yeah. It's ridiculous, you know. You should be dedicated solely to me at my beck and call whenever I want, all of you.
I'm just busy with this work and YouTube life, so...
Yeah, big YouTube star. Yeah.
Went to an event.
Yeah, he did go to an event.
I did.
He did.
He's mixing it up with the hoi polloi of the YouTube elite. And you may have heard his voice there. I am also joined this week by Tom. How are you, Tom?
Buonasera, come stai?
Yeah. C'est bien.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Mucho bueno.
See?
Yeah, he's been to Italy, so he's trying to show off his
That's
Italian.
the 4 words of Italian.
Yeah.
That and uno per la. Oh,
So this is my ensemble. Yeah, some of us can speak some other languages too, you know. Of my esteemed colleagues. And as I said, this is our 23-24. Yeah, that's right.
Is that a question or a statement?
A bit of
right,
both.
23-24.
I'm not great with dates. I looked at my calendar. There's no year on it. I was like, so yeah, we will be doing our predictions. We did this last season. Me and Tom have been doing this for a while now, where we pick who we think are going to be champions, our top 4 in the Premier League, Cup winners, Champions League winners, Golden Boot, relegation, promotion from the Championship, first manager sacked, PFA Player of the Year, and Ballon D'or. Those are the categories. Most correct answers by the end of the season, with the most points, will win £10 from each of us. So there is a potential of £30 on the line. Tom, have you given Thelan his £10 that you owe him yet?
no, because he has not sent me any details. Do you want me to personally deliver it to you myself? Or by carrier pigeon?
I think you should, yeah.
Mike, you should know this when you bet money.
No, I won last time, so you can shut. I won with you.
You did not win last time. No, nobody won last time.
No, you won a
Mike,
side
how
bet.
Much
I
did
did.
you bet against me for Newcastle last season?
No comment.
Oh, dear.
£30,
No
wasn't
comment.
it? Keep going up.
Was it 50?
50. Feeling of
See,
big.
you said Newcastle make Champions League, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if Spurs hadn't
So-
capitulated, I'd have won 50 quid, but Spurs capitulated.
Why did you not bet on that happening?
This is Spurs we're talking about, Mike.
Exactly. That's the safest bet you could ever make.
It shows how bad you can rub it into Mike, because we went to a Shoreham game on Saturday, and their trophy cabinet can't even
Oh,
fit
you
the
could shut
places
up.
in.
They
They have
have
to stack
me
them on
to
top.
partially thank for that. I worked for Shoreham for a little while as well, so I was the goalkeeper coach there, so you're welcome. But anyway, with that being said, let us begin. And we are going to start at the tippy top of the Premier League, the champions who we have come the end of this season. Let us start in alphabetical order. So let's go, Lee.
Get the boring away.
Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... You could say Arsenal would give him a challenge, but no, Man City are going to win it again. When you got Haaland, it's already guaranteed probably golden boot again this season. It's hard.
You're getting
not
ahead
to-
spoilers, man. Stop, just slow down, man. I know you're eager, but slow it down. You gotta give the the audience a little a little je ne sais quoi, a little back and forth.
But I'm
Little
going
foreplay.
Man City champions.
Okay, what letter comes next? It would be me. Trying to think alphabetically, shut up. I also have Man
I was
City.
going to say, it depends on which name for me you're you, but carry on.
No, feeling, of course. Yeah. Duh.
Say what?
Yeah, I have Man City down as well for champions. I really don't see anyone particularly pushing them either. I think they're probably going to coast it this season, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be pretty much a stroll in the park for them this season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see what Phelan thinks. What does Phelan think?
Okay.
Yeah, nice. Same
Pretty
reasons.
much reasons pretty much reasons as described.
So, Tom, you're going to be different? You're going to bat the same?
I would love to be the contrarian, but last season broke me, and I can't possibly, in good faith, go with anyone else other than Man City. I would love to think Arsenal could do the same as we did last season. I don't think Newcastle can step up. Definitely don't think Man United can step up. Maybe Liverpool, but at the moment I can't see anyone other than Man City really win this league at the moment.
So we're all pretty much comfortably saying City, like not even like being challenged. It seems we're all under agreement that it seems it's going to be quite simple for them this season.
Yeah.
At the moment, looks like it. Yeah. We'll see.
Fair enough. Well, how about we round out the top four then, shall we? Let's start with Phelan this time. So you can do it in order if you like, Phelan, or remember you will get a point for any team in any of the top four positions, so it doesn't matter too much. But if you want to give it to us in order, just makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go with City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and then United over United. That'll be my top four.
Yeah, sorry, you cannot say United over United. That's not going to work.
Over Newcastle.
Right.
I said United over Newcastle United.
Oh, I just heard United over United. That doesn't like.
No.
I was like, yeah. Previously that would work, but I don't think you can do that now. So like, that's not an acceptable answer. All right, Tom, who have you got?
Yep. So Man City obviously win the league. I've got Liverpool second, Arsenal third, and Newcastle fourth. I'm not that confident about Newcastle fourth at the moment, but looking at their competition, could see them doing it again. I think Spurs possibly look good at the moment, but just at the moment, what's going to happen the rest of the season. So I can't.
It's when
the
excrement hits the spinning thing with Spurs, isn't it? That will we survive?
Yeah, Newcastle is going to be about how they deal with the Champions League group.
Yeah, and
so I'm going to jump in ahead of Lee for this because I have a remark with regards to that. Everyone's going to go last, Lee. Don't worry. It's nothing to do with your beauty or anything like that. You're a sexy man.
I mean, yeah.
So I'm just going to touch upon the thing that the guys were saying with Newcastle here. So I've put Newcastle in fourth as well. But that was a bit of a toss-up for me. And it wasn't... I personally would not be massively surprised if Villa finished fourth this season.
Decent shout.
I could see that happening. And I was very questionable of this. I was like, if Newcastle stick with Howe, then they'll probably be okay. But like I said on one of our previous shows, if they pull the trigger on him and panic quickly, then it could go very wrong very quickly for Newcastle. And I think that would potentially give Villa the opportunity to get in there. The only other one I had was a bit of a spoiler, so I'm not going to say that. But it was a choice between three teams for me. But I did go with Newcastle.
The thing I'd say with Villa is Emery does love a good European Cup run. So I feel like they'd potentially go very deep in that, in the Conference League, which may just fall on their league form towards the end of the season.
I mean, maybe, but it could also have the other effect that they get some results and it can give them a bit of confidence and they get a bit of form going. And
I would also say that they've been away to two of the top six already and been spanked in both games.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't necessarily look at form this early on as that much of a indicator.
Feel like he's built a team to win. I feel like he's built a team to win in Europe rather than to finish in the upper fifth in the Premier League.
Yeah, potentially. I would agree with you, but I don't know. I think if you get that team rocking, they could do some good things. And I look at the rest of the teams in the league and I think they could go on. They could step up to the next level potentially. If they will or not, I'm not sure, but I don't know. But I did go with Newcastle in the end, but it was a bit of a coin flip for me, just because it all depends what Newcastle do with Howe, I think. I have Arsenal in third this time around, because I'm not particularly confident with this bet anymore based on the results that have come. But I stuck my neck out on the line right at the beginning of the season, and I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm not going to backtrack now and say, I don't know what you were talking about. I never said that. I have Chelsea in second because I did say that, like I said, I'm going to stick my neck out on the line. I already said at the beginning of the season, I think that Chelsea will probably be the closest challengers. Not necessarily that close, though. I think Arsenal's last season was a bit of a fluke. I don't see them replicating that form, and I don't have Liverpool or United being anywhere near, personally. I think that Liverpool were my other tie-up for fourth. It was either going to be Villa, Newcastle, or Liverpool, and I think Newcastle will probably just edge it. And then obviously City as champions. So Lee, you look like you have some things to say, so I'm going to pass the mic over to you, and you can bash as much as you want. Feel free. But then after that, I need your top four, please.
I've got to say, I do not see Chelsea finishing anywhere near top six.
Nah, me neither now, but
Seventh will be a good season for them this season, if they were going to get anywhere, because they're showing problems already. I know we're only a few games in, but they're not playing together. They're playing individually. And I think it's going to take Pep more than a season to get, not Pep, Poch, sorry, more than a season to get that team moulded to what he wants.
I can't see Chelsea finishing above Liverpool and Newcastle. Also, looking at their first 11 doesn't look that strong, really. You know.
I don't even know if he knows what his first 11 is at the moment, though.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He could find a system that works and could all click together, but I don't know.
They feel like a goal scorer.
I think that Lee's right, though. I think it will come together and click eventually, but I think it will just be too late by that point, and you know, they'll stabilise around mid-table, something like that. But like I said, I put my neck on the line, and I'm happy to live and die by my decisions, man. I said this before the season started. I've said it on this show, so I can't turn around now and go, yeah, I don't think they will. But, you know, I mean, I don't think that they will now, but who's going to go second? I mean, I guess you could put Arsenal second, Newcastle third, and then Liverpool or Villa fourth, but I don't know.
Well, my top four, and I'll go from fourth to first. I'm going Brighton fourth.
I knew it.
Only because of
That's optimistic enough, isn't it?
the players they have signed this season. And they haven't just rushed to buy players, they've actually brought quality in that has already made a difference to that team. And that's a team, the Brighton team, you can tell aren't missing McAllister and definitely aren't missing Caicedo. So I see Brighton doing well. I could see Brighton fourth. They could be one of the teams that you don't even think about all season, and then they creep in there.
I'm happy to put them in top 6, but much like Thelan said earlier, Europe might kill them this season. It's a very small squad. It's not a big squad.
It's not a big squad, no. But like you, Rich, I'm going to put my neck on the line.
Okay, I can.
I'm going Brighton fourth, Liverpool third, Arsenal second, and obviously Man City winners.
I think if you look at the top end of the table this season, it looks very competitive and difficult to get anywhere. You know, you say pick a top 10 in order, and you'd be like, there's quite a few teams that could finish in decent positions. But then a lot of them are historical teams.
Calling the top 10 is almost as difficult as calling the bottom half of the league, because of just how interchangeable some of those teams are.
Yeah.
Well, what a beautiful segue, Thelan. That was fantastic. Thank you very much. You set me up perfectly. Let's talk about relegation then, shall we? We've talked about the top end. Let's talk about the bottom end. Let's go Tom first.
So nothing I've seen from Luton so far suggests that they're going to be competitive. I wouldn't go as far as Garth Crooks and say they're going to be down by Christmas, but I don't know. Not looking good so far. I don't think they've really strengthened that much in the summer. I think Ross Barkley's probably the star signing, isn't it? Really, and that's
using the word star is a stretch.
That's saying something.
Well, the next England international team is play for England at the World Cup, so I guess that's as good as losing.
It's a stretch.
Remember when he was the next Jude Bellingham? Or the first next Jude Bellingham? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Just trying to put that out there for anyone who, all the people that are saying basically Bellingham is a god and Birmingham don't look so silly for retiring his number now. Just
I'd say Bellingham's already done more in his career than Barkley has, but that's just me. Sheffield United as well. They look pretty good against Man City. Almost got a draw out of that game, but again, the squad doesn't look that stacked or anything. Some of the signings don't inspire confidence. So I've got to go for those two, Sheffield United and Luton. The third one was the hard one to pick, and I went armed and hard over the third one. Narrowed it down to 4 teams. Forest, Wolves, Fulham, and the team I'm going for is Everton. I think this is going to be the year for Everton so far. They look pretty as abysmal as usual. Yeah, can't really see them pulling anything off. Summer signings look uninspiring again. Not a very good first 11. They got rid of Alex Iwobi, who's been one of their better players the last couple of seasons. Loftus-Cheek was injured. Don't know where the goals are coming from. I don't know. They got to go down at some point. So I'm going to say this year.
Fair enough. Lee, care to elaborate? Care to
I'll
argue? Care to do anything else?
I would probably say I couldn't see Everton going down. I think they will start to pick up results this season, because I think
There you go.
it could happen.
It's typical.
Yeah, that could be, the start they need. But yeah, I think Everton will be fine. I think Sean Dyche is this going to be his first full season as Everton manager?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he had half of last season to sort what he wanted to sort. He's now got his first full season, so I think they'll be fine. I think Everton will stay up. And I think Wolves will just break it. They won't be up there. They won't be like 14th, 15th sort of thing. It'll be 17th, and they're survived by a point, 2 points at the most.
Okay. So who have you got going down then?
So I've got obviously Luton, Forest, and Sheffield United.
Tom, Thelan, sorry, even. Have you put Spurs down to be relegated?
No, I have not. But I am sticking my neck on the line to try and make the relegate this, because obviously everyone's going to have the same 2 relegated teams, but I am going to put my neck on it and say Luton will finish with the lowest points tally in Prem history.
Yeah, he has said that previously though, so good
Yeah,
to see that
I know. So
he's put his balls where our mouth are as well. Wait, what?
He says it to me. He says it to me multiple times. We chat about it.
Yeah. And I have said it on here as well, like Richie with the Chelsea thing, and sticking to that. I am going to stick to this. And having seen them for the first few games of the season, they've done absolutely nothing to make me even reconsider that notion. I've got Sheffield United next, and then I've gone for Wolves.
Okay.
I've gone for Wolves.
So Wolves were. I had 2 choices that I was dead set on.
Yeah.
Wolves were one of the teams that I was like, it could be this, it could be them, it could be them. I don't rate Gary O'Neill fantastically highly, as we said on the season review.
Yeah, as you've said before, yeah.
However, they've looked all right, Wolves. They haven't looked terrible. They've looked pretty decent. They just don't have anyone that can put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be their biggest Achilles heel.
Yeah, and I was deciding between Wolves and Everton. I've been flip-flopping on that pretty much most of the season. And if it wasn't for what Everton did on deadline day, as the player Lee kind of alluded to earlier, that's the only reason why that's one of the main reasons why I've gone for Wolves over Everton. Everton will get goals. And I don't see where Wolves' goals are coming from. They had numerous chances against United. Alright, yeah, they should have had the penalty that wasn't given, but they should have killed the game off before the penalty. And I just don't see them scoring a lot of goals. I don't think the bottom 3 is even going to be that close.
So, I'm going to ask you a question. Name an FM wonder kid that's ever actually been really good in real life. Because that's basically what you're basing this whole argument on, is that he was really good on Football Manager. And I'm like, yeah, great.
No,
but that doesn't usually
goals.
translate to real life.
But if you watch the game, if you watch Everton against Sheffield United, he does give them a different attacking dynamic, which I think Sean Dyche will build around. And let's face it, Everton have been in most of the problems that Everton have had is because Dominic Calvert-Lewin can't stay on the pitch for more than 20 minutes. They now have somebody that can stay on the pitch for more than 20 minutes and will get goals in the physical style that Dyche likes to play. I think he's kind of the perfect forward for that system and that setup, and they will get goals. And they've got just about enough about them defensively that will keep them in games. Pickford is still, for as much as all of his faults, he will keep them in games. He won't. If they go down, he won't be the reason they go down.
No, I don't.
Wolves will be the one.
Yeah. No, I don't. Pickford isn't going to be the reason that they get relegated. Oh, spoilers, by the way. I've got them in my bottom three.
But I just think when you look at the two teams overall, Wolves are not as good of a team as what Everton are.
Disagree entirely.
Hold on. What was the score when they played each other a couple of weeks ago?
I disagree. Yeah, I think the Wolves look a better footballing side than Everton do. They just need someone that can put the ball in the net. But during that time, they might be a slightly better footballing side, but are they going to be able to grind out results? And I don't think they will. That's what I'm saying. I think
to grind results out, which is why I've got Wolves to go down.
I don't know.
Everton
I think
grind results.
I don't see Everton grinding results. I don't see Everton being mentally strong enough to do that. They'll go down 1-0 in a game, and before you know it, it'll be 3-0. They don't look like the kind of team that can claw themselves back out from the mire. And Pickford is a good goalkeeper, but when you're saving 30 or 40 shots a game, eventually most of them are going to go in. There's only so much that one man can do, and I don't see it. From the games that I've seen so far this season, Everton do not look like a strong defensive side to me that can grind out a result. That's why I've put them in my bottom three as well. But that's what we're all here for. We're all here to disagree.
Absolutely, the proof will be at the end of the season, won't it?
Exactly, yeah. I personally think that Wolves have got enough about them that they can, someone will be able to nick a goal here and there. I mean, that's my belief anyway. I think that they need to play Hwang a lot more. He looks decent when he comes on, but he just comes on off the bench.
He's going to hang out more.
Yeah, but he just starts on the bench all the time, and I'm not quite sure why. But maybe that'll change. Luton, obviously another one of my picks. I fear Thelan might be right, and that they're really going to struggle, because I think that they've had the kind of start that we said a few weeks ago would kill them if it happened. Where it's been big scoring games, and that's going to be demoralising, and then to lose your first game at home as well. If you're thinking about turning that place into a fortress, now I know West Ham, you might consider West Ham a bigger team than Luton, but if you're Luton, you got to be thinking that's a game we can at least draw at home in a...
Yeah, they need to capitalise on that first game of the season at home with the crowd behind them. That was something they really needed to take.
It wasn't like Man City rocking up and going, well, we're probably going to lose that one anyway.
Yeah.
It's a team that you look at and you think, we got a chance, so...
we'll see how they do at home with Sheffield United, Wolves, Fulham.
Yeah, the teams around them, obviously, will be more of a barometer, but I still think that losing your first ever Premier League game at home
badly as well.
Not only to the team that you did, but in the manner that you did as well, is probably going to knock your confidence quite a lot. But hopefully I'm wrong. I think that they'll go down, but I hope that they don't go down with like a lowest points total ever. Just because, that would be quite sad. And the last team is one team that I was umming and ahhing. I was umming and ahhing between Wolves, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth. You could have also potentially maybe put Fulham in there for me as well. But I've decided to go with Bournemouth this time around. Because, like I say, end of last season.
Second season.
Yeah, but end of last season, I don't even think they looked that good. I know that you and Tom were saying, that, Gary O'Neill did a great job there keeping them up. And I agree with you, he did. But like I said, I don't think they ever looked comfortable. I don't know.
They had lucky results in the end of last season.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that probably came down to a bit of a togetherness, maybe with the manager as well, and the fact that he's gone, the team might be a bit like, well, why? Why did he go? What the hell's going? I don't know, but I just I have a feeling.
Upon reflection on last season as well, the bottom six were so close together that it only took about 3 or 4 results, and they literally pulled themselves halfway up that bottom half of the table, didn't it? So that was the thing. It was only going to take.
It was so tightly packed that. Yeah, it's like when we were talking and like Tom was saying like, well, they finished comfortably out of the relegation zone. They were safe, along, and I was like, yeah, but I just felt like there were worse teams than them, rather than they were better than the teams around them, which is a really stupid way of saying it. It doesn't make a lot of sense when I say it out loud, but I know what I mean.
I know what you mean. They just got some momentum behind them, and that literally carried them to some results.
Yeah. We'll stick with the Premier League for the time being, and we will go into Golden Boot. So, you are picking 5 players for this award, and any 5 of them that finish within the top 5 will give you a point. So, let's go Tom first.
Oh man, this is very hard this year, honestly. Firstly, Harry Kane's gone. Ivan Toney suspended for 4 months. And Cuckoo's injured till Christmas. So that's 3 of your potential ones gone already. Very tough choice this year. So obviously Haaland, because that's the obvious one. Mohamed Salah. Son is my 3rd one. Feelings will love this one.
I was waiting for it.
Sorry, what?
I was waiting for it. I was wondering if you were going to pick this guy.
Gonna love this one. Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
I bet you £10 that.
Yeah. And man, this is terrible. I'm not convinced about any of these choices other than Haaland and Salah, by the way. They're the only 2 that I'm convinced. The other one, I'm just hoping and praying that he does step up to his price tag. But I've gone for Højlund as the 5th one.
Okay.
Does anyone mind if I go next? Because I would like to.
No, sure.
Okay. Sure, mate.
So good point. No, it's not. It's our show.
When it suits you.
When it suits you.
Yeah, I was going to say. Fairly certain it's your show.
It's communism when I want it to be, and a dictatorship when
We've got our own
choose it.
Putin in charge.
Exactly. I think I'm going to have to kick Lee because he's making chemical weapons, as far as I'm concerned. It's for the good of the show, guys. It's for the good of the show, all right? I'm trying to keep the security of the show in check. So, I would like to challenge you on, first of all, Son.
Yeah. I'm not convinced, by the way. I think Haaland, Salah.
No, I'm not convinced. I think that Tottenham look like a team this season where the goals are going to be quite spread out. And they're going to come from a lot of different sources rather than one singular source. I think that I know that he obviously
still see him getting 20 goals in the season.
I don't see him getting 20. I see him getting something like 17 in all competitions. I mean, bear in mind that we're already out of one. So, you know. I see, the way we seem to be playing now, I see that the goals are coming from a lot of different places. I mean, you just need to look at how much the, midfield and defence has scored already compared to up top, So, that is one. My big one that I'm probably going to get a lot of oohs from is Salah. I do not have Salah in there this season.
Ooh.
Thank you. I see this as a bit of a sunset for him. I said this when we were discussing a few weeks ago that Liverpool are not the same attacking team that they once were. And I think that that's reflected in Salah as well. Like, I think that maybe he was only as good as he was by the players that were around him.
Do you think this is his last season?
Yeah, I think that he probably wants to go. So that plays on my mind as well. That maybe he's just not going to be quite there this season, and maybe, it's just, I don't think Liverpool look as good as they have previously, and I don't think that Salah is the Salah that we had a few years ago. So, I've left him out. I've obviously gone for Haaland as well. I've also put Isak in there.
Raise your believers.
Last season, he looked good. He looked good last season. I'm not going to lie that. And hopefully if he stays fit this season, you'll think he's probably going to start ahead of Callum Wilson in most games. Yeah, and if Callum Wilson can get into the top scorers, then there's no reason he can't. However, I put him in third, and I've put Ollie Watkins in second.
Interesting shout.
Again, I feel that Villa, I think they're going to do quite good this season. I think they're going to do quite well. And he is the focal point. Again, very much like Tom, I found it quite difficult to choose. I've put Julian Alvarez in there. Because Haaland's going to play most of the games, but if you bring Alvarez on for a game to rest Haaland or as a substitute appearance, can you tell me that he wouldn't score in that City team? I mean, he already has this season, right? So it looks like the kind of team that you could literally put anyone in up front, and they'll probably get enough chances to eventually put the ball in the net. And Julian Alvarez is a good player in his own right. So I'm quite happy to put him in there, I think. And without Kane, Son, Salah, then I think he's a pretty safe bet to put in there. And I've rounded it out with Rashford, because I don't think that Højlund's going to score more than Rashford. And
I do think so.
I think, like I said, I think that last season he kind of showed that he pulled himself together a little bit more again, and I think that he might kick on this season. Just need to probably depend on what Man U's doing. That's the only difference. Like, he is capable of scoring goals, but if Man U are rubbish, then
that would be my concern with my thing with Rashford. It's how good is the support going to be around Rashford to put him in the position to score those goals?
Yeah, that's the only concern I have as well. But I needed someone to round out my top 5. I didn't believe in all the others. I said that I personally thought Rashford might be able to do it this season. I mean, considering who was it? The lowest of the 5 last season had like 12 goals? Something like that? So
Callum Wilson, 5th, I think.
16, wasn't it?
Yeah.
16 with Wilson.
was it 16? I mean,
I think
Rashford
so, yeah.
16.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd say around about 15, you're usually okay to be in the top 5, I'd say.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's my choice for top scorers. Let's go with Lee next, unless Thelan has something more thematically in line.
I mean, I've got a real wild card in mind.
Okay, a wild card is fine. Let's go with Lee now. Let's go with Lee next.
Right, so I've gone, obviously, Haaland, as we all do, and I've gone Son, Salah, Wilson, and a real wild one, Mr. Darwin Núñez.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good shout. Didn't think about
it's
Nunes.
not. It is not a good shout at all.
I don't know. You got 2 goals this morning.
The absolute look of disgust on Richard's face when you said that.
Darwin Núñez, I think, will have more of a game time at Liverpool this year. And I think with Salah and Luis Diaz, I think we'll,
I like it.
because
Yeah,
Cody Capco and all that isn't really, I don't see doing much. I think Núñez is.
I think Richard's
Up
glitched.
there.
His head's just rolling from side to side.
I think Richard
I
just
mean, I think
Yeah.
I think it is. I think Núñez is going to have a season this year. All players
No,
need a season to settle.
His
And then,
first choice for 3 is Diaz, Salah, Jota. So he's always going to play Jota ahead of Núñez anyway. And then you'd say, if any of those 3 go down, the first choice to up there is going to be Gakpo. And then Núñez is probably bottom of that pecking order, I would say. Klopp seems to have a massive hard-on for Jota. He loves the guy, and he is definitely, behind Salah, his first choice. It's Salah, Jota. No, you disagree?
Diaz. Diaz second choice.
You reckon Diaz? No. And the only reason Jota isn't number 1 is because Salah's there, and the fans love Salah. So Klopp, who needs to feed like a vampire off of the fans' support, sucks the support of the fans.
I've got to agree with Tom. I think it's Núñez after.
I will say one thing for you, Richard. If Núñez is not a regular starter, this could be a problem. But he needs to have more games like the Newcastle game. If he has more games like that, he definitely will be in more or less.
I think Núñez will start a lot in Europe, potentially, and then it depends on if he hits some form in Europe, whether he carries that over into the league. I did go backwards and forwards on whether I was going to put Núñez in mine or not, but spoilers, didn't, for the kind of reason that Richard's described. There is a scenario where if he does hit some form through Europe, that he could take that into the league across kind of December, January, February, with a decent run of games through there, and could, potentially. He has the ability to score goals. He showed that against Newcastle, but the question mark is the consistency. Can he do it consistently?
That's it.
Salah's on his last leg.
But
So
the thing is that the fans absolutely love him. They basically worship him, don't they? So Klopp isn't going to drop him for that reason.
No, I was going to say,
because Klopp
scenario
needs
where
the fans
Salah
to love
doesn't
him. That's how he sustains himself. He doesn't eat food like you and I. He eats like love from fans. And then, like I said, I think Jota is his out and out number 1 choice. He loves that guy. The only reason that Salah's ahead of him is because, like I said, he needs sustenance. So that's the reason that it goes Salah, Jota, Diaz for me. I think Diaz is probably the one that he would be happy to swap out, but then I think he'll put Gakpo in ahead of Nunez. I think that Darwin is the bottom choice out of that choice. Considering that there was a point where they were willing to get rid of him this transfer window, I don't think you can turn around and say, no, Klopp really rates him.
But then Salah isn't your out and out striker because he plays out on the right.
No, but he plays Jota in that role though, doesn't he? He doesn't play an out and out striker. This is the whole reason that he stopped playing Firmino. For that reason, because he doesn't want an out-and-out striker. He wants someone that can drop in, get involved, drop out wide, he wants an Ajax rotating front three, doesn't he? That's what he wants. He wants everyone, everywhere, and nowhere, all at the same time. Because, Klopp's a magician, and, magic.
One thing I will say is, listening to those names, I think Liverpool are the strongest attack in the league. It's just putting it all together.
On paper, probably, but I don't think that Klopp can get the best out of them because the way he plays. Like I said before, I agree with you. Nunez as a number 9, and then 2 players outside of him, I think that could be a great combination. Probably not Salah, because I think Salah's towards the end, but Diaz and Jota, I reckon that could be a really decent front three. Nunez is your number 9, I'd agree, but that's not what Klopp's going to do. Klopp doesn't want a big number 9. He wants false 9s. He wants Fabregases all over the field.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we will see come the end of the season. Feeling.
It's got a feeling for top 5,
yeah.
So, yeah, like everybody, I've gone for Haaland. I don't think there's a debate about that. I have picked Salah, just purely because I don't see a scenario where he doesn't ever play and he will still score goals with the way that Liverpool team is built, as we've just had that discussion. I've gone for my boy Isak.
Your boy?
My boy Isak. Yeah.
Boy.
And then these last 2 I kind of went backwards and forwards on quite a lot because, as Tom alluded to earlier, this is actually a lot harder than it initially first seemed to round out 5. So I have gone for Alvarez, purely because he's their point of difference. If it's not coming from Haaland, it's probably going to come from Alvarez, as already shown a couple of times this season. And like you said, Rich, a striker in that team is going to get goals, whether it's Haaland or whether it's Alvarez, whoever's on that pitch. They're both world class. They will score goals, and I do see a scenario where if it's not working with Haaland for 70 minutes against a tiring defence, he swaps him out for Alvarez. Alvarez is more likely to put the running in behind in those last kind of 20 minutes, and he'll score goals. He will get goals. He will get late winners. So I put him in, and then lastly I went for an absolute wild card because I just could not pick somebody that I was completely comfortable with. So I haven't picked Son. I've gone for Evan Ferguson.
Ooh.
I've gone complete wild card. Yeah.
Decent shout.
If we're talking Callum Wilson was in there with 16 goals last season, I don't see a scenario where he doesn't get goals. And I wanted to just throw a wild card into the mix because, I got trashed last year for Isak and I was proved right. So,
No, I get the thinking behind a wild card. I do totally get that. I would say that I've probably done 2, Watkins and Rashford. I do appreciate a wild card. I love that. So, round of applause for that. The only difference I would say between Wilson and Ferguson is that Wilson was a proven Premier League talent before he was made the out-and-out guy.
Oh, yeah.
So...
No, I'm just saying, in terms of, if Wilson was in that top 5 with 16 goals, I'm not saying that Wilson's not a great player. I'm just saying, if you're looking at where it was 16 goals got you into that top 5, I can see that scenario where he ends up with 16 goals across the season with Brighton, with heavy rotation with Europe, that he could be the bottom of that 5 on kind of 15
The
goals.
only thing I would say is that he's a young kid. 2 or 3 games without a decent performance could crush him. And then
100%.
He's gone completely. That's what I'm trying to say is that Callum Wilson has the the playing experience that he knows if he goes 2 or 3 games without scoring, it doesn't matter. There will come one eventually. Try telling that to a kid who all of a sudden is scoring hat tricks, in like his 8th start or something like that. I mean, if he goes a couple of games without scoring, he's going to start thinking, oh, I'm not good enough for this level. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously. And then I can see him just completely tailing off. That's the only thing I would say with regards to that, is that I think that that's a very risky wild card for that reason. Like, I would personally put Nunez over Ferguson in that position for that reason. Not because I don't think Ferguson's good. Ferguson looked great, and we had this discussion previously, Lee, didn't we? That I said I would be very, very excited to have that player in my team coming through. He looks like a genuine talent. But because he's young, he still needs to trip over those hurdles. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
not that the slightest. And I did literally just decide I was going to come for an absolute wild card pick over something like somebody a little bit more established, because I was going backwards and forward. This is probably the category that took me the longest to kind of decide. And a little bit, I mean, I could have put Son in there, but I feel like Spurs is going to share the goals round. And he's never been the most consistent goal scorer, as proven by, last season you kind of fell off the edge of a cliff. Season before
he consistently
was
gets
really
into the teams, but if you compare that to the season where he won the Golden Boot, it's like he's that was a one-off out of the box season,
the drop-off was considerable. And not having a Harry Kane there is a lot more focus on him from defenders. So I feel like that he's either potentially going to end up with a lot of assists, or be the decoy that's allowing the midfield to get more goals. Yeah,
that's how I
other
see
players
it as
into
well.
space to score goals. So, and I thought about Nunez, but I'm a little bit like you. Klopp doesn't fancy him, just doesn't want to use it. And and I've already alluded to, there is a scenario where it could happen, but you would have to carry some form from a couple of European games to really displace Jota, because he's loved Jota since the minute you brought him into the team. He effectively displaced Firmino in that devastating front three. So I just decided I'm just going to pick a complete and utter wild card and see what happens.
No, love it. Applaud that. Very well done. I'm happy with that.
Speaking of sharing the goals around, no one had Arsenal in the predictions here.
No, again, because I see them. You still have Gabby Jesus, who is very capable of getting that for sure. But they also look. I mean, I said Gabby Jesus because last season because he was good. He was a good player in a City side that never really gave him the shot. And you always thought if he goes to another team that can create, he'll get goals. Easy. A bit like Sterling when we said last season, he's now stepped out of the shadow of other players around him. He now has the opportunity to be the man. But then watching how Arsenal play, I think even if you put Jesus in that role, they're still going to share the goals around everyone. I mean, Saka's going to come in with quite a few. It's the same reason why I didn't pick Son. If I was going to pick anyone in the Arsenal team, I probably would have picked Saka. But I just think they're just going to share the goals around too much, and it's just going to dilute one person's overall monopoly on it. Same thing with Spurs,
Yeah. Well, I'd love to pick Jesus, but I can't within. I can't.
I think he fits into the team well. I just don't think he's going to be like a main.
I feel like Jesus become more of the provider than the goal scorer, with his kind of using his physical presence to hold the ball up, bring in the wingers, because that's a lot of where Arsenal's goals do tend to come from, or play the ball back to Odegaard, who's, contributed quite a significant number of goals. So,
I suppose I should put some respect on Nketiah's name, but I can't see it.
Not consistent enough.
Yeah, I don't think that he'll get there. He'll be your Ferguson wild card if you wanted to do that, I think. But
Yeah.
right, okay, nice quick one. Let's go PFA Player of the Year. Has anyone picked anyone other than Haaland again?
Yes.
Okay, right. Well, you know my answer, so there you go.
Now that's got to be a wild card selection in itself, isn't it?
Thelan, Lee, are you both on Haaland, or have you got different people as well?
Yeah. No, I've got Haaland.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's just turn it over to Tom. Off you go.
You might as well just call it the Erling Haaland show for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, Haaland's the obvious answer, isn't it? But I wanted to go a bit different for this one. Don't want to go for the same answer. Talk about riding off into the sunset with one more incredible season. I'm going to go for Mohamed Salah for PFA Player of the Year.
No.
Cheers.
Just doing that shaky head thing again.
No, my only other choice for Player of the Year would have been De Bruyne, just because everyone loves De Bruyne, and he's getting to the age now where he might start not making so many appearances for City, and that tends to be when everyone starts loving City players. Like, how underrated has David Silva been for the past 15 years he's been at City? But I've only just noticed in this season, now that it looks like he might be leaving the league soon, all of a sudden he's amazing. You know, that everyone seems to have that kind of syndrome with City players. And I think that this is the season De Bruyne is probably the last season he's going to be an established starter week in, week out. I think that come towards the end of this season, they're going to start, I think, trying to... He's not going to be first name on the team sheet so much anymore, I think. And I think that that's when it looks like he'll start to be wrapped up and sent off somewhere else, you know. So that would have been my only other choice, but I don't think that this will be that season. I personally think it'll be next season that everyone's like, oh, isn't De Bruyne amazing? Oh my God, I've never noticed how good looking he is before. You know.
You clearly
I
have.
see a scenario where it could have been De Bruyne, especially if he comes back from injury and, you know, big assists in big games. It's not always about your form during the season. It's about your form when it's visible. Those last 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
That's what for, right?
There is one player that no one sort of thought about for PFA, and how you've all forgotten him, I do not know, but
Harry Maguire, yeah.
Calvin Phillips. I mean, come on.
Calvin Phillips, yeah.
4 games for City. I mean, come on.
Gareth Southgate would pick him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He'd be his choice. Him and Maguire for Player of the Year. So Mohamed Salah, Player of the Year. You can take it from me.
Any particular reason for that?
This is his last season, probably in English football. And
So the same reason why I think that De Bruyne will probably win it next season. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it.
Maybe.
The PFA tend to love doing that kind of thing, don't they? Like, oh, I've never noticed this player before, but all of a sudden this is his last season in the Premier League, and oh my God, isn't he great? We'll give him. It's like a lifetime achievement award now, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and Haaland can't win it every year. He might get injured. Who knows? You don't know.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, here's hoping. Exactly.
Get sacked in the morning. You'll be gone without warning. All the best players have gone out on loan. You get sacked in the morning. And the contract will be paid off in full. Sacked in the morning. And there's plenty more clubs out on the pool. Sacked in the morning. Take it to the corner flag. No more questions from the local